Hi, welcome once again, good students, to Still the Doll's House, and by Henry Ibsen. This time around is characters and characterization and role. The roles assigned to the characters and, of course, their character traits. Welcome, stay put. Nora Helmer. Nora Helmer is the protagonist or the main character or the heroine in the play. Still a young woman, she is married to Torvald Helmer and has three children. Nora is by far the most interesting character in the play. Her whole life is a construct of societal norms and the expectations of others. Character traits. She is impulsive and spendthrift. In her first moments on stage, we see her give the porter an overly generous tip. She comes in with tons of Christmas presents and shrugs at the idea of incurring debt. Unbeknown to Torvald, Nora borrowed money so that they could afford a year-long trip to Italy. Number two, she is loving. Nora borrowed money so that they could afford a year-long trip to Italy. Doctors said that Torvald would die without it, but that he shouldn't know how bad his condition was. Nora brings home lots of Christmas presents for everybody in her house. She plays hide and go seek with her kids, which indicates that she is loving. She is independent and far-sighted. In the past, Nora was always a passive childlike possession who followed Torvald's orders, but towards the end of the play, she is an independent adult and can dominate Torvald. She is wise and intelligent. Nora uses wisdom and intelligence to confront an emergency. She forges her father's signature in order to secure a loan from Krogstad to save her husband's life. Nora realizes that her understanding of herself, her husband, her marriage, and even her society was all wrong. She decides that she can no longer be happy in her life and marriage and resolves to leave Torvald and her home in order to find a sense of self and learn about the world. A newly empowered woman boldly escaping the oppressive clutches of her old life. Nora has been leading a double life. She has not been thoughtlessly spending their money. Rather, she has been saving to pay off a sacred debt. She is equally childlike, immature, ignorant, and whimsical. She happily accepts the pet names Little Lark, Little Squirrel, and Little Miss Extravagant that her husband calls her without any opposition. In fact, she seems to enjoy and even play into it. The maturity level Nora exhibits demonstrates that the relationship between Torvald and Nora is more like father and a daughter than husband and wife. Irresponsible and reckless. Her first act on stage is paying the porter. Though his service only cost sixpence, she gives him a shilling. That is on page 1. The casual way in which she gives it to him is indicative of her irresponsibility. She hands him the shilling, and before he can thank her, she decides in the middle of the transaction that she is not patient enough to wait for change. She forges long documents to raise money for an expensive trip to Italy. Even if the documents were not forged, Nora did not have any means to repay the loan anyway. She has never spent serious time with her husband of nearly a decade and is always dumping her children on the nurse rather than bonding with them herself. She's equally dishonest and deceitful. She falsely blames Mrs. Linde for smuggling forbidden macarons into the house. She has been eating macarons, something that she has been forbidden by her husband despite her promises of total obedience to him. At the beginning of her marriage, she secretly borrowed money from Niels Krogstad and forged her father's signature in order to finance a trip to Italy that was necessary to save Torvald's life. She's equally unfeeling. She blames Mrs. Linde for smuggling forbidden macarons into the house, though she's just trying to hide her indiscretions. She does not care whom she hurts in the process. Unfeeling. She is materialistic. She's always trying to make herself happy by buying things, dresses, toys, candy, etc., rather than doing anything meaningful with her life. She is infatuated with the acquisition of possessions. Another character trait is that she is decisive, resolute, and independent-minded. At the end of the play, it becomes clear to Nora that she, Nora, had been living all these years with a strange man, and she had borne him three children. That is on page 117 to 18. This realization forces her into the real world, and she ceases to be a doll. At the end of the above statement, she adds, "Oh, I cannot bear to think of it." She tells her husband, "Our home has been nothing but a playroom. I have been your doll wife, just that at home I was Papa's doll child." That is on page 118. In the end, Nora has a sort of spiritual awakening. She walks out into the night alone, but for perhaps the first time in her life, she is on the path to becoming a fully realized, fully independent human being. She decides to desert her family to go on a quest of personal enlightenment. The act of concealing the ill-gotten loan signifies Nora's independent streak. She is proud of the sacrifice that she has made. Although she says nothing to Torvald, she brags about her actions with her old friend, Mrs. Linde. Nora is independent enough to negotiate the loan to make her family's holiday possible, and over the course of the play, Nora emerges as a fully independent woman who rejects both the false union of her marriage and the burden of motherhood. This marks the end of this episode. Again, good students, stay put, and if you not subscribe or it's your first time, I would prefer that you subscribe so that you get updated as we progress with our analysis and look into this particular play.